Hey, 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 it's UMass Sports Weekly, your number one source for my devilish charm, good looks, and those sports that we also cover. Anyway, I'm your host, Tommy Colludi, and let's see what UMass Athletics was up to this week. So first, we'll see the men's basketball team had a pair of losses this weekend. First, coming at the hands of St. Joe's, 69-63, where the three-ball buried the Minutemen. The second in heartbreaking fashion by a score of 85-83 to St. Bonaventure, despite 26 points from Trey Davis and 25 from Jabari Hines. The men's hockey team took on reigning national champion Providence for a home-and-home series. Friday's senior night saw the Minutemen fall 4-1 to the Friars on the back of 2 goals from Brandon Tanev. And Saturday's loss came by a score of 6-0, where UMass allowed 5 goals in the first period and registered 23 penalty minutes. The women's basketball team beat LaSalle in impressive fashion, 80-57, behind 19 points from Alyssa Lawrence. The men's lacrosse team went 1-1 this weekend, losing an overtime heartbreaker to Harvard and winning earlier today against Hartford. Lastly, the women's lacrosse team continued to roll as they beat BU 11-8 and Yale 13-3. It was a busy week on campus, and I still managed to sleep over 20 hours this weekend. But either way, this is UMass Sports Weekly.
This is UMass Sports Weekly.
UMass Minutemen take on the Providence Friars here tonight at the Mullins Center on senior night. Ben Gallagher, Shane Walsh, and Evan Stack were honored before the game, and let's take you to the highlights.
Mostly in a 3-person class, it's more about the character of the guys and the personality of the guys. As good as they've been on the ice, it's more the enjoyment for me as a coach, seeing them grow as people and what they've given to the program.
There you heard Coach Micheletto talking about his 3 seniors. Sam the Minuteman is ready, and so are we. To the second period, Providence on a power play with Nick Saraceno breaks the scoreless tie for the Friars as they go up 1-0. Alex Wakaluk was a player to talk about in this game as he had a stellar game in goal. A little scrum after a Dennis Krevchenko shot on goal, but Krevchenko would find a way to his 11th goal of the season on a deflection here from Shane Walsh. But that wouldn't be enough for UMass as Providence would score an empty netter toward the end of the contest to give the Minutemen their 21st loss of the season. As you can see, a tough loss. The Minutemen took tonight from the Providence Friars 4-1 here at the Mullins Center. I spoke with Coach John Micheletto, Ben Gallagher, and Shane Walsh after the game about Alex Wakaluk's 31-save performance tonight, receiving the 3rd star, and here's what they had to say.
Today, he made some key saves for us at critical times. And that's that relationship that you need between your team and your goaltender. Sometimes your guys are going to bail him out, and sometimes he's going to bail us out. So, he certainly gave us an opportunity to win the game tonight.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome. In particular, the last 3 games, I think, just as a team, we played really well. Some special teams play kind of just, gave us the losses, but, Walks has been great. He's been such a character guy in the locker room for us, and he's such a rock back there, whether he's in the lineup or not. So I think it's obviously nice to see him playing well for us, and us been doing a better job playing well for him.
Obviously, a lot of praise for the junior goaltender from his coach and 2 teammates. Hopefully tomorrow, him and the Minutemen can take some momentum into Providence, Rhode Island, as they face the Friars once again for the last game of the season tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'm Liam Byrne, and this is UMass Sports Weekly.
There you all saw Victor Cruz, a really nice guy. Great that he does that for the show. Now, unfortunately, the men's hockey team has had a difficult year this season. With only 2 wins in the Hockey East and another 2 losses coming this weekend, they've had a tough go of it. Now, I'm here with Jake Liberty covering for Alana Alonji. Jake, how's it going?
It's going well. It's good to be back on air. I'm excited to talk UMass hockey.
Well, there you go. So, Jake, I want you to talk. First game, we saw 4-1, lost to Providence. Senior night for the Minutemen. Usually that provides a spark. What went wrong this weekend?
It just wasn't there. You coming out, it's your last home game, it's your senior night, you got 2 seniors, Ben Gallagher and Shane Walsh. They want to leave on a good note. They want to, beat a powerhouse like Providence, last year's champions. What happens? They come out flat. Not much there. It's just, Providence is a very good team. Just got a bunch of goals early on. UMass just couldn't recover. But there was a good highlight. Dennis Kravchenko, he actually set his career high goals for a season, getting his 11th. So, kudos to him. But other than that, it just wasn't much of a senior night. It's a tough way to see the seniors go.
I mean, definitely tough to see the seniors go that way, but if you can imagine, things actually got worse the next night. So, Jake, tell us a little bit about the 6-0 loss. There's a number that comes to mind. It's the number 23. Now, you don't see a number like 23 in hockey in a score or
not usually
on a stat sheet. But what did 23 mean in this game?
23 penalty minutes. 23 penalty minutes for UMass alone. Not total, UMass alone. 15 of which come from the captain, Steve Yacobelis, getting up 2 penalties with a major and an unsportsmanlike. That's not how you want to play a game. Not from your captain. You're losing 6-0. Tensions are high, and they're just starting put. And that's not how you want to go out. That's not how you want to play that game when you're already down so much. It's going to keep hurting you. 23 penalty minutes on top of the season they've had.
It's a lot.
It's a disgrace.
Now,
I found that same number, actually, when I put out my trash the other day, Wednesday night.
Did you?
Ridiculous. Yeah, they picked it up Thursday morning.
Actually, I spray painted 23 on the side of my trash cans now. So whenever they pick it up, they just throw it right in the dumpster.
I'm just going to spray paint UMass
now,
hockey on the barrels.
Trash wasn't the only thing with the penalty minutes. The goaltending situation has been terrible this year. How did that look Saturday night against Providence?
Like a dump. Like where the trash goes. It looked even worse. Alex Wakaluk allowed 5 goals. Everyone has a bad game. 5 goals on 12 shots. 12 shots!
Every other shot.
That's
bing, 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 bing.
He didn't save anything. He just stood there. The ones that probably hit him were just direct shots with his pads. Oh my God, it was trash.
You know those little the sets you used to have where your dad used to throw the traffic cone in?
Exactly. And the thing is that it wasn't just Wakaluk. Yes, he had a horrible game. 5 goals, 12 shots. But it's the other goaltenders all season. This is the 3rd UMass starting goaltender to be pulled before the 3rd period. 3rd in the whole season. That's 3. It's
more than 2.
I don't even know what to say to that at this point. They're going into the Hockey East tournament right now, and it's not looking good for the Minutemen.
It certainly isn't looking good, especially when they're going up against number 9 Boston University, last year's NCAA runner-up. Now, Jake, I want you to give us a little preview. What are our chances looking like against BU?
Slim to none. Definitely slim to none.
Maybe if we play them in the dump, we'll have a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
Be in our element.
Maybe our home turf. But right now, home ice, or trash, whatever you want to call it. But it's not looking very good. I think at this point, the UMass Minutemen just need to get on their knees, put their hands together, and just pray to the Lord Savior above for an upset. Yes, I'm a Minuteman fan. It doesn't sound like it, but yes, I support them all the way. But after this season, it's looking tough for them. It's not looking good, especially against BU. And it's not just BU. Say the Lord answers their prayers and they come out and sweep BU. Then they're facing teams, Notre Dame, Providence. On top of that, BC, who has been melting the ice all year with how hot they are. It's not looking very good for them. Starting off with BU especially.
Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, this team has had a real difficult season, and we'll see what it culminates to later on this weekend. Thank you, Jake, for coming in.
It's good to be here.
Now, hopefully, we're going to move into a little bit lighter of a topic. AF Squared is going to come in to talk some women's basketball, so stay tuned. The women's basketball team has been on a roll of late, winning their last 5 in a row. This is one team to definitely take a look at. Now, I'm here with Allie Furlow and Alex Francisco, and I want to talk a little bit about this team now. Alex, Bria Stallworth has been a huge player. When it comes to scoring, she's been one of the leaders in assists. She's really been a catalyst for this team. And how important is she down the road, especially going into the A-10 tournament?
She's vital to this team's future. She is this team's future, to be honest with you. In the A-10 tournament, I just start off, let's congratulate her. Bria Stallworth today actually was named to the A-10 All-Rookie team. In the regular season, Stallworth was the highest scoring freshman in the league with 359 points, averaging 12.8 per game. That makes her 13th in the entire league for shooting. With 10 assists, she's ranked 8th in the league and the highest among other freshmen. Her 359 points this season makes her 3rd all-time in program history for freshman players, and 16 more points will make her number 1.
So obviously, Bria is huge going forward with this team, but Allie, I want to talk to you a little bit. Bria is a freshman. I want to talk to you about seniors. How important were the seniors this year, not just in this game against LaSalle, but what impact have they had on the team so far?
Well, Tommy, let's take a look at how both of the seniors contributed to the team thus far this season. First off, guard Victoria Stewart. She played in 3 games, had a .500% free throw attempt. Unfortunately, in the 3rd game of the season, she suffered from a leg injury against the game in Buffalo, so she's been out for the whole entire season. Now for forward Rashida Tambilla. She played in 28 games. She averaged 34 minutes per the game, had a total of 220 points, averaged 7.9 points per game, and made 55 of the 81 free throws, and made 88 offensive and 178 defensive rebounds.
And might I add, Rashida Tambilla, she's poised to reach her 1,000th career rebound in this next game. She currently has 998 through 115 games, and she ranks 14th nationally among active players in rebounds. That's pretty impressive.
Now, Allie, I want to continue on. We talked about it earlier. They're on a 5-game winning streak. The last 2 weeks have been great. Obviously, Stallworth and Tambilla are 2 people that you need to look at when attributing that. But what really has changed over the past 2 weeks that's made this team look and play so much better?
Well, the Minutewomen have come out with such tenacity during the game. We can pull up the graphic and see the standings as of the 2 weeks. As of February 21st, the Minutewomen were in 13th place, and in the past 2 games, winning over URI on Wednesday and LaSalle on Saturday, that bumped them up 2 spots to the 11th spot, knocking down Davidson and URI.
Well, obviously that's very impressive, and I mean, especially with the thrashing that was this weekend's game, an 80-57 victory over LaSalle. This team's clearly kicking on all the right cylinders, which is the right time to be doing it because, Alex, we're heading right for the A10 tournament. This train is headed straight for that tournament. And how do you really see this team doing when it comes to really making some noise in the A10 tournament?
You know, 4 weeks ago, sitting on this show, talking to you, I would never think that I'd be in this position to talk about these girls the way that I'm about to.
It's because of them, not because of me, right?
Anyways, essentially, these girls, honestly, something clicked during that game against Dayton where they won, where I don't know if in practice prior to that, Coach Dahi just stood these girls at the arc and just had them throw up consecutive shots until they learned how to shoot a 3-pointer. But we saw them actually not only taking the 3-point shots, but making them in. We see them turning the ball over less. These girls are finally starting to connect with each other, and I think things are looking great for them in the A10 tournament. They get to see in the first win-in game LaSalle again, who, so UMass got the 11th seed, LaSalle's the 14th seed, last in the A10. And they're coming off of a game where they blew them out, like you just said, 80-57. So UMass, and they're on a 5-game winning streak. LaSalle has lost their last 3 games. They've lost their last 4 out of 5. So I think they shouldn't have a hard time taking advantage of their own momentum and LaSalle's lack thereof.
So last question for you two. I just want totally honest, 100% straight with me opinion. How far is this team going in the A10 tournament?
You know, I don't see them having a problem with LaSalle. I have no doubt in my mind that next week we'll be here on the show talking about their game, their matchup against the number 6 Fordham, which would, I believe, be scheduled for Thursday. But it's all about them keeping that momentum. It's all about them keeping everything they've done these past 5 games just continuing it. I mean, these girls have shown that they can really play with anyone, even when they were losing, because they were losing by such small margins. And I think now that they have their act together, now that their team chemistry is kind of flowing, I think that these girls really could make a run. They really could play with anyone. They might be a little rattled when it comes to teams like Fordham and these top teams, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm confident that they're in a lot better shape coming off this winning streak than they would have been.
And I completely agree. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that next week we'll be sitting here talking about the game against LaSalle and how the Minutewomen dominated in the game. As for matchups in the future against Fordham, Duquesne, St. Bonaventure, I don't know if the Minutewomen have had so much preparation that they're going to be good enough to beat those teams, but you never know. They could surprise you.
Well, there you have it. Everybody obviously should be paying attention to this team. Like we've said all segment, 5 wins in a row. We have someone on the verge of 1,000 rebounds, Bria Stallworth on the verge of breaking freshman records, so definitely keep an eye out for this women's basketball team. Thanks a lot, ladies. Don't touch that dial, though, because when we come right back, we're going to be talking some men's lax with John Anderson. Stay tuned.
UMass coming off a huge upset victory over nationally ranked opponent Ohio State and looks to take a win from yet another ranked opponent in number 14, Harvard, in an interstate rivalry game at Garber Field. To start things off, Devin Dwyer from Harvard scores one of his 5 goals to put the Crimson up 3-1. In the second period, the Minutemen could not be stopped, scoring 5 unanswered goals, and here's one from Buddy Carr. A crazy goal here as a scrum in front of the goal turns out to be a gift for Kevin Porzelt as he comes up with the ground ball and breaks the tie as the Minutemen now lead 4-3. And in the words of DJ Khaled, another one. Buddy Carr and the man up tallies a hat trick to give UMass a charge into the second half. DJ Smith started in goal for UMass, but they have been using both of their goaltenders this season, as you see Dan Dolan getting some warm-ups before the second half. The goals kept coming in the third quarter for UMass, as Peter Lindley getting a pretty pass from freshman Isaac Paparo and rips in his 4th goal of the season to put UMass up 7-3. We jump to the 4th, UMass up 9-8. Harvard's Joe Lang ties the game and sends this matchup to overtime for the 2nd year in a row. Now to overtime. Off of the face-off, a goal is scored by Harvard's Devin Dwyer 10 seconds into the period as Harvard beats UMass in a heartbreaker 10-9. UMass played Hartford today at 3 p.m. on Garber Field, looking to bounce back from their loss against Harvard. My fellow lacrosse analyst John Anderson has more on that game. I'm Liam Byrne, and this is UMass Sports Weekly.
And then you see a tough 10-9 loss to Harvard in OT. Now, I'm here with John Anderson. John covered the game today. We'll talk about that a little later. But, John, this team was up 9-6 going into the 4th quarter against Harvard. A really good team. I mean, what just went wrong for this team that made them fall apart?
Well, you see, anything I could say, all of that. All that went wrong. They lost every face-off in the 4th quarter. They were
That's usually not good.
0 for 2 on power. Well, every was 3, but still. There was a huge defensive collapse. They were doing a lot of skip passes, Harvard was. That's when... For those of you who don't know what a skip pass is, that's when you, instead of passing it to the man parallel to you, you skip him and go to the next one. UMass in the first half was getting their defenders and their long poles were getting the sticks up a lot, batting those down. But in the second half, that just wasn't happening, and they were letting those passes get through. They were running a lot of pick plays, Harvard was, and UMass's defensive middies, Dylan Gruder, just getting beat to the outside quite cleanly on it, actually. And there was a lot of turnovers, actually, in that game. I was looking through the score sheet for the 4th quarter, and before every Hartford goal, it said turnover by someone. Buddy Carr has a lot of turnovers. He may be the leading scorer at this point in the season, but he did have a lot of turnovers in that game. Like I said, the face-off losses. Defenders weren't sliding when they should have. They were letting a lot of the non-skill players come in at the net and take shots, which is what you're supposed to do. You don't want them to pass it off to someone who's going to put it through the back of the net in quite the literal sense of the form, because these lacrosse players can drill that thing. But so they weren't sliding. They were letting them get too close before they decided to slide. If they wanted to slide, it was too late. It's just all got to do with the slides, as much as we love slides.
Yeah, slides are always fun, except for when you don't use them.
Yeah.
And then you lose to Harvard.
Slip and slide as well.
Slip and slide is also a really good time. Now, John, today you covered the game against Hartford, 11-3, and absolutely just thrashing of a team that's usually not that great. How did they turn it around?
Well, especially, there's 2 questions there. How did they turn it around from the game they lost to Hartford? But also, how did they turn around from last year when Hartford, quite honestly, committed a Boston massacre against the Minutemen? 14-8 was the final in that game, and it was atrocious. I felt like I was at a funeral at that game for the 2014 or the 20. What year was it? The 2015.
Probably wasn't very lively.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't very good at all. But then for them to come in and take Hartford, last year was actually the first time they've ever lost to Hartford.
I guess the atmosphere was kind of dead.
Yeah, it was. It was just very melancholy and stuff.
I feel like everyone on the field was just lifeless.
It seemed that way, especially with Hartford took 29 shots in the game and only 8 of them went on net. So the goalies didn't really have to do a lot. They were winding up for these shots and then launching them over Bartlett behind the net. Like it was every single time they missed a shot, it was laughable. Only 8 were on net, 21 missed shots by Hartford in the game. So UMass obviously got a little lucky. They let up a lot of shots, but it's not like a missed shot necessarily means that the player just messed up and missed the net, because when those players go back to shoot, what the defenders do is they go for this bottom hand, whether you're lefty or righty, and if they hit that bottom hand at all, hit the bottom hand, it's going over Bartlett. 10 out of 10 times, or last year, someone hit Baby Bark too. True story.
That's why I never park behind Bartlett. I also don't have a car. I never park my bike behind Bartlett.
I don't have a balls coming in, but there's people, I mean, the fans
I don't have a bike either.
All right, what do you use for transportation, Tommy?
My feet.
Your feet. So don't leave your feet behind Bartlett, Ben.
Oh,
don't hang out around Bartlett during the lacrosse.
Don't hang out around Bartlett.
If you got a class in there, you're screwed.
Now, John, the next game is against Brown. Brown is ranked 7th overall in the NCAA. Now, we've played Ohio State, who was 11. Harvard was 15. They've all been pretty good games. What does UMass have to do against Brown in order to get a victory?
Well, they first off, they got to play defense against Brown because I know how simple that sounds. But last year when they played Brown, Dylan Malloy had 7 goals against us.
That is a lot.
He had 7 goals. I know you're no mathematician. That is a lot. 7 is a lot of
more
goals.
Than 5, less
2
than 8.
2 assists, 9 points in total. The other 2 attackmen of the game had 4 goals and 3 goals for a grand total of, I believe the final score was 18-4. And all those players are returning, by the way. So they're here again this year. But the good thing is UMass's defenders, 3 seniors, as well as most of the D-middies are back, besides Austin Spencer, who anybody who watched the Johns Hopkins game Sunday saw him tear UNC a new one, a new transfer there. I was questioning where he went, and now I found out from watching TV. Austin Spencer transferred. But Tyler Weeks
there you have it, kids. You watch TV, you learn something new.
Tyler Weeks has been doing phenomenal at LSM, as well as Shane Rinkus, the freshman, is getting a lot of time at LSM. So I'm looking for those two to really play tight defense, knock down the skip passes. Brown's another team that likes to do a lot of skip passes. They'll fake passes one way, find someone on the crease. As long as you keep your head up, head on a swivel, fast looking back and forth between anyone, just like that demonstration here. Hopefully someone from the UMass Lacrosse team is watching. That's how you knock down those balls, and especially with how good the D-middies have been playing thus far in the season, Kurt Hunziker, Dylan Gruder, they're not going to let people spin in on side of them. If Brown's going to get goals, the way people score goals against UMass is simply by quick passing and just getting them to just miss a step for a second. And when they, like, for example, you see someone do a crossover step, that's when you lay a shoulder into them, knock them off balance, just take a shot.
Absolutely.
So as long as they are keeping their shoulders square
and their feet uncrossed,
then finish the sentence.
They have a chance at winning.
They do have a chance at winning. Brown's number 7 in the country, and then next they've got some more ranked matchups next week with Albany and UNC. So hopefully, they win those games, get a top 20 ranking.
Well, there you have it. Keep up to date with this team because they're another one that could be on the horizon. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you.
When we come right back, as I promised the last couple of weeks, we are going to have a segment on women's lacrosse. Zander Manning makes his triumphant comeback. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, UMass fans. I'm Brittany Collins, and we're excited to announce that our February Athlete of the Month is women's track and field Heather McLean from Peabody, Massachusetts. McLean has received co-UMass Student Athlete of the Week due to an amazing performance at the A10 Championships. At the A10s, McLean won 3 gold medals and 1 bronze, also being tabbed the Women's Atlantic 10 Most Outstanding Track Performer at the meet. A special and well-deserved congratulations to Heather McLean.
Always very thankful for Brittany Collins and her segments. Now, just to make a nice segue, the Minutewomen lacrosse team has picked up right where they left off last season, winning their first 4 games in pretty convincing fashion. This week they had 2 of those 4 games. The first one on February 24th against BU, when the Minutewomen took home a victory 11-8 over a very impressive BU team. And then later on this week, obviously, they took on Yale and thrashed them. Now I'm here with Zander Manning. Zander, I mean, it's been a fun year to watch this team so far, and they've won every game by at least 2 or more goals. I mean, tell us, why do you think they've been so successful thus far?
Well, I mean, it's been a fun year every year. They're a great team every year. Well, They've won all 4 games. That's just enough said right there. But also, they've scored double-digit goals in every game so far this season. Great. That's definitely something to look at. But like you said, some tough opponents so far. They played Yale, UNHBU, and Holy Cross. Really no surprises with this team that they've won the games, but really it's just been the way that they've won these games. Finishing the games, but getting started early too. They get started early and they don't give up until the game's over.
Yeah, against Yale, they did jump out to a 5-goal lead, so this team definitely knows how to start and finish. Now, Zander, this team has almost made winning look easy. Especially, and they've done this the past couple of years with all the opponents they face. So what do you think is the key to them having so much success, especially with their early season games?
Really, I think it's their first half goals. That's one of the keys for me. They've got 33 first half goals this season in 4 games. That's absolutely crazy. You don't see that very often in the
You don't
lacrosse.
see that. It's like a dodo bird.
No, you don't.
You just don't see those.
It's extinct. It's crazy.
Or a T-Rex. They're just not
T-Rex,
there.
No, they're not. It's very sad, but rest in peace. 33 first half goals in 4 games is absolutely insane. Not to mention, they average 21 points. No, they're 21 points in their first 4 games. That can't be right. They got more than that.
They get more than that.
51 maybe, 55. It's crazy.
Well,
they're doing awesome.
It's crazy enough for you to not be able to read your writing.
No, Erica Ipe. She's a key. Erica Ipe is a key for me. Let's talk about Erica Ipe for a second here. She's a huge key. Transfer from Louisville. She's got 21 points in 4 games. That's where I was going with that. She averages 5 shots a game and 2.5 goals a game. She's a huge piece for this team for me.
She's good. Now, actually, I want to take a minute to acknowledge 2 women who have really stood out this year. One of them is Erica Ipe, and if you can see in this graphic, Erica Ipe was named the co-player of the week in the A-10, and Ann Farnham was named Defensive Player of the Week for the 2nd week in a row. These 2 girls have been absolutely phenomenal. As you can see, this past week alone, Ipe had 8 goals, 3 assists, and she had 10 shots on net in just the game she played. Farnham forced 4 turnovers in 2 games, picked up 3 ground balls. I mean, Ann Farnham has been phenomenal this year, already the 2-time A-10 Defensive Player of the Week. So obviously look out for her. And Erica Ipe, as you said, the transfer from Louisville, make sure to look out for her. Now, Zander, last question. Looking forward, what do you expect from this team? I mean, every year they seem to make it to the tournament, and then it's a crapshoot, whatever happens. What are your honest-to-God expectations for this year?
It's tough to say right now since it's so early in the season, but really I got a good feeling about this team. I mean, it's going to be real tough. I mean, I can't really say right now since it's so early, but I got a good feeling about it. I feel like they're going to make the tournament, like you said, every year. They always make a run at the tournament. Maybe make it a little further this year. Erica Ipe's done some good stuff for this team, but right now I'm just focused on the next game. Taking it 1 game at a time right now. I'm focused on the game tomorrow against BC. They're going up against the number 15 team in the country, but BC's 2-2. I mean, if you can take advantage of this win and roll over BC like you have the rest of the other teams, right now I think they got a good shot, but right now I'm just taking it 1 game at a time.
Just like they should be taking it 1 game at a time. Just like we take it 1 show at a time. Unfortunately, that's going to do it for us this week here in UMass Sports Weekly. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, use our Snapchat. It's been great. We all have access to it. It's phenomenal. We cover the games, we film stuff, fans, players. It's great. There's an Instagram. Always use Periscope. Phil Sanzo, our dual reporter, was doing it last week. Dr. Dennehy does it sometimes. And just remember, whenever you need any information, look to UMass Sports Weekly. We'll see you right here next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m., and have a great week, UMass.